In this video, I'm going to share a lot of information with you about how to effectively co-parent when the other co-parent and you are not on the same page. When it's a struggle, when there's tension, when you get into it and you can't be effective. I'm going to share some important keys with you about how to do this, and you're going to leave this video feeling a lot more confident and prepared and like you can be successful co-parenting your children. Okay? So first thing is, treat your co-parenting like it's a business. Do everything you can to not take things personally, to not bring your personal life into the shared goal that you have, which is really about educating and raising your kids so that they're healthy and that they can be successful and independent, right? So if you're triggered, if you get upset, tuck it aside. This is a very appropriate time to do that. I mean, if you're not living together and you're not in the romantic relationship that you were in when you started parenting or when you gave birth to the child, there's a reason for that, right? So do all that you can to not take things personal and not bring your personal life into this. You're really treating it like you're professionals working towards a shared goal. You know, it's like you're working on a commodity, and the most important commodity that you have in your life probably is your kids. So treat it like a partnership that you're working together towards a shared goal. And again, if things come up that are personal, you don't bring them up into this relationship. You're co-parents. You're not partners anymore, right? And if you get triggered, which you probably do because there's a reason you're not in a romantic relationship anymore, tuck it aside. Compartmentalize it. Be professional. Right? So be professional, treat it like a business. Now, ideally, when you're working with another co-parent, the structure is the same in both households. I mean, you have the same expectations, you have the same general rules that are there, the same structure is in place. If that's not the case, then let's start to talk about what you can do when something is different over there and it's different here, right, in your household. Now, the thing, you really want to be consistent, because if it's not consistent, it creates a space for the kids to find their way to get more and more independence in the least direct of ways, right? So and oftentimes when there's not that consistency, it leaves these cracks in the system where their emotion about potentially grieving you all not being together and the family system being different can come up through those cracks, right? So the more consistent that you can be in the households, the better. If you can't, then here's what you want to do. You want to have a conversation with the co-parent about what the intent is behind their structure, and for you to share the intent behind your structure. There are so many different ways that intents can be fulfilled, generally speaking, in our lives. And the same is true for when we have structure. What is the intent that they have for their structure? Hopefully they're saying something like they want them to have enough structure such that they're safe, but that the structure bends to the degree that they can start to experiment with appropriate independence. Right? And hopefully you can articulate that for yourself. What's the intent behind your structure? Safety is number one, but two, that they can start to experiment with being more independent, right? And that they can make certain kinds of mistakes, but the mistakes aren't so big that they'll be catastrophic. Yes? You're also wanting to create influence with your structure. So hopefully that they can articulate this and you can articulate this. Meaning in your influence that you're creating with your structure, you're not allowing them to go out, if they're in 8th grade, you're not letting them stay out till 2 a.m, right? If they're in 6th grade, you're not letting them go to families whose parents you haven't spoken with, most likely. Like that would be appropriate. If they're seniors in high school, however, maybe they're allowed to go out to different families and spend time with friends that you don't know. Maybe their curfew is around midnight, right? There's different kinds of ways that you're creating influence through the structure. So get aligned and have a conversation with the co-parent around what their intents are behind their structure based on the ages. Now this is tricky, right? Because they'll have probably different values than you have, but if you can go to the intent behind the structure, then you can start to make some compromises around getting your structure the same in both households. Now, sometimes that just can't happen, right? And one household says, absolutely not, I'm not going to do this. And you're like, absolutely, I'm going to do that. right? Let's just take curfew as a simple example. The other household is maybe being more lenient. There's like, they can stay out till 2 a.m. They're 17 years old. I feel really comfortable with that. And you're like, absolutely not. Midnight, maybe 11 p.m. based on these different factors. And that's going to be different. This is where it gets tricky, right? And they're not going to budge and you're not going to budge for a variety of reasons. Now listen, on the one hand, it's okay. This can be navigated, right? It's not ideal, but it can get navigated. Now here's what you do in this situation. If there's just really clear differences in the structure over there and over here, have a conversation with your kids and just own that it's going to be different, right? That number one, just own it. Just say it's going to be different there than it is here. This is why I'm doing this. You can check in with your mother or father over there on why they're doing that. You can ask them. You can ask them why. I encourage you to, in fact. Here's why I'm doing this. You can share very transparently. This is your intent behind why you're choosing to do that. Then just listen to them. Hear what they have to say, what their feelings are, what their frustrations are, what their frustration is with it being different. Just create a venue for them to vent, express, and again, don't take it personally, right? Do all you can to not take it personally. You know why you're doing what you're doing here, right? And it might be frustrating for you that they're doing that version over there and it's probably more lenient over there. That may be the case. And you're just not going to. And do all you can to not bring your frustration that you have with that household or your former partner and bring it into your kids. Just try to be an open venue to hear them and to receive them. So create these different discussion points to speak with your kids about, right? And just explain to them if they're open to hearing why. I think it's important to share what your intent is behind why you're doing what you're doing. And then listen to them. Just hear what they have to say, right? Hear what they have to say around why they're feeling frustrated or why they feel like your household should be like theirs, right? I understand. I hear you, sweetie, and I'm just not going to do it for a variety of reasons, right? Now, here's another point. If you're watching this video, you might be on the more, I don't want to say strict, let's say more structured end of the parenting, because you care more and you are more interested in learning more about parenting and how you can be effective and how you can raise really healthy, vibrant, successful kids. You might get pegged as the mean, restrictive parent. You know what? And it sucks in a way because sometimes some parents, that's how they get love from their kids, is letting them do what they want. That is not an expression of love. An expression of love is being structured and clear about why you're having certain structures in their lives for yourself. And hopefully your structures are bent and their intent is having them be more independent people. Ideally, that's what we're going for in the most nuanced and sophisticated and intelligent of ways. For me, that's my definition of structure, is how do we give them a certain set of rules and expectations that over time, in an intelligent way, have them become more independent, right? And successful within that independence, right? So if you get pegged as the parent who is more restrictive and they want to spend more time at that household, fine. Let them have their ideas and their feelings about you. Let them share with you about them. Let them vent. Let them complain. Fine. Don't beg for their love, right? They don't want to spend as much time with you. Fine. Their loss, right? Like, have fulfillment come from so many different parts of your life. I mean, obviously we want to be cared for and you want to be loved by your kids, but don't chase them around for it. Don't beg for their love. You be you. Live your fulfilled life. Have lots to give them if they want to come to you, right? You know, one of the things I've found is as parents, the most successful and highly influential and revered parents that I've worked with have been the ones who have been driven and fulfilled and expressed that into their lives with their kids. They don't rely on their kids to be fulfilled. Why? Because their kids can feel that as a burden, right? Their kids know that they need them in order to feel full. And the most successful parents and most influential and inspiring parents I've seen, their cup is always full. and they do many things and live many ways and make many different decisions in their lives that has their cup be full, and then their kids can come to them to fill their cups, right? So I say all of this inside this dynamic because I see this happen a lot, where some parents are like, there's nothing I can do. They're just, the other household's just giving them stuff, and so the kids love them and like them more. Fine, let them, right? You be good. Stick to your values. Be open to receiving how they feel about you, what their complaints are. And the more that you can listen to them and then understand them, potentially bend your structure a little bit, but maybe not, the more they're going to respect you, right? They may not like you for now because they're teenagers or they're kids in some ways, but I can tell you there are ways to be liked and loved and revered even if you don't give them what they want. And that comes down to the two pieces: being fulfilled in your own life, finding fulfillment, creating fulfillment in your own life, and secondly, listening to them, understanding their world with not necessarily giving them what they want. Okay? If this is helpful for you, give a thumbs up or subscribe. And if you have any other comments or questions, put them in the comments below. And I'm very happy to create more videos like this that might be helpful. All my best to you.